Hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video, and for this one it is quite clearly Lotus Turbo Challenge 2. So Gremlin Graphics are back with this release, which was in 1991. And for this one they decided to drop the word Esprit from the title because this car here is the Lotus Elan. So what they basically did was say the thing about the first game is it only featured one extremely unreliable and badly built car. We've got to find a way of incorporating a second. So they managed to incorporate just about the only car that was even more unreliable and badly built than the Esprit, so you have the Elan. That said, I do quite like the Lotus Elan. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for it. It's a decent car if you can get one that works properly, and you have a fucking fortune, which you need to if you're going to be buying one of those these days. Right, so let's get the game up and running. Now you don't actually race in the Elan all the time, you alternate between the two. So the first course is in the Elan, the second one is in the Esprit, then you're back in the Elan and back in the Esprit, and so on and so on. So let's just get the settings sorted out. Right, that's that lot done. Now this password section up here, if you know any of the passwords, you can enter them to start on particular levels. The game gives you the passwords for each level, so once you've completed a circuit, or rather a course, it gives you the password and then you can enter it here, so you don't have to keep starting from the beginning all the time, which is quite handy. Well, at least it would be if I could get any further than well, you'll see how far I can get in a minute. It also has the same two-player split screen option that you had in the first game. If you're playing it only single though, you do have the entire screen to yourself, which is quite welcome. It also has the option to link two Amigas together. I can't remember if it was through a serial link or what, but I also don't know if that means you could theoretically have 4 players. Well, I suppose, yes, you could theoretically have 4 players, so whether or not it let you do that, I don't know. I mean, it could just be that it meant you could have 2 players, but at least you got the full screen that time. So, if any of you know, let me know. So I've got the game all ready. Let's get her started. Now, unlike the first Lotus game, this one is you're racing point to point. You're not doing laps around the circuit. Your position in the race also isn't so important. In fact, it's not at all important. You just have to get to each checkpoint before your time runs out. Your timer is there in the top top right. Now the cars do still weave around an awful lot, but thankfully it's now not such an issue, because firstly you're not starting the race behind 19 other cars all in the same sort of tight small area. For another, if you do hit either a car or a roadside obstacle, you are not punished anywhere nearly as badly. You're slowed down a bit, but nothing like as much as you were in the first. So the game is basically trying to stay as quick, there you go, as it can, which I'm all in favour of. In terms of the audio within the game, I am pretty sure it's identical. It doesn't just sound similar, it is exactly the same. I'd suppose the thinking was it worked okay, so there's no point in changing it. And you gotta admit, they do have a point. Oh, fucking hell. It's fucking typical that I had 2 warm-up goes. I did pretty well on this first track both times. Now I'm recording, yeah, I'm playing it like a fucking muppet. Now you do have some of these other things to watch out for in the road, including these logs you can jump over, but they don't damage the car. They make you jump up, which is actually quite handy because as you may have spotted, going through those puddles or the small streams that go across the road slows you down a bit. But if you hit those, I don't know if they are logs or what, they look like logs, they may be ramps of some kind, but yeah, you hit them, they make you jump up and you can then avoid the puddles and whatever. You know, I really am doing shit on this one. Graphically, you can see that there are some tweaks that have been made, but they're not vastly different to the original. But again, the graphics in the original were perfectly fine, so again, why change something that doesn't need changing? So I'm in the Elan in this race. The Elan is a bit slower than the Esprit, but it also handles better because it's a lighter car. Did better that time, but well, that came to a crashing halt. I can quite easily see me not even being able to get through the first fucking course in this guy. The road routine does look pretty good. Plenty of you know, elevation changes as well as the quite a wide variety actually of bends. That's handy. Well, this is the finish line, so there we go. You also heard there is some speech there. I don't know if this is true, but I have heard a rumour that that voice is Shaun Southern's own voice. I don't know if that's true or not. So there you go, you got the password, which is Twilight. So you enter that on the main page, then you start on this level. It's level 2, as you can see, it's a night course. And in this one, you're back in the Esprit, you're not in the Elan. So this car is faster, but it doesn't handle as well.
Marks. Set. Go.
Alright. I have to say, marks, set, go. It just doesn't sound right as a starting sequence for a motor race. Now, this track, or this course rather, I can get several stages to it, but I've never been able to actually finish it. I have a feeling that it's not going to change here. I'm going to still struggle to get through this, especially as I keep fucking eating everything. Just about made that. various tunnels. They keep cropping up throughout, and bridges. So you know, there are some say some graphical enhancements. They haven't just kept it exactly the same, but yeah, like I say, the graphics in the first one were good enough, so you know, you don't need to change everything. A few tweaks here and there are okay, but yeah, why change the whole fucking lot? Yeah, it goes, oh, fucking, what am I doing? Time is getting low. Oh, there we go, right. I don't have a huge amount of time to get to the next checkpoint. Fuck me, that was close. So the engine sound is still a bit weedy, but fucking yeah, these corners are coming on a bit too quickly for my liking. I just cannot keep up with them. I think that's the main reason why I do so shit on this particular course. I'm amazed I got to that checkpoint. In fact, I don't think I've got to that checkpoint before this go. So this, believe it or not, is the best I've ever done on this game. Well, since I started playing it again now. Oh, fucking yeah. Surely this is where 2, 1, yeah, that's it. Now, if I have enough speed, I could carry on to, yeah, you could just see, I don't know if that was the checkpoint or the finishing line that was just approaching there. But there you go, a really shit go, and I scored 16.9 million. So yeah, it's quite generous with the scores. So there I am in 6th place, which is where I always end up. I just cannot get higher than 6th. So right, well, let's when the title page loads up, let's fire up again, and this time we'll get the review underway, although I have already covered a fair bit. Graphically, I think the game is great. It's every bit as good as the first one. You know, at worst, I do quite like these still graphics here. This one in particular does look a bit blocky now, but that's because of the resolution I'm playing it at. So yeah, graphically it's great. I think the presentation is great. It's, you know, quite clear. It's quite you know, it's got a lot of options and everything on the main title page there. They're all quite concisely done. But then, you know, you don't need any, you know, unnecessary complications or anything like that. Audio, the music, I suppose, is okay if you like that particular style of music, which I don't. The audio, say, is no different to the original, apart from a small smattering of speech that's been added, which may or may not be Shaun Southern's own voice. Oh, fucking hell. I was doing alright up until then. And then the gameplay, I think the gameplay is great. I'm quite a fan of this game. It's a big improvement over the first Lotus Turbo 3 challenge. Having, like, you know, more than one car, so you're now using the Esprit and the Elan. Adds a bit of variety, so I do prefer actually driving the Elan. I say it may be a bit slower, but it handles a lot better. It's a lot easier to get around and overtake other cars. Oh, bollocks. So even though the other cars in the game here do carry on the weaving thing that I hated in the first game, they don't do it quite as badly. Fuck. Alright, bollocks up like that. Yeah, they don't weave around quite as badly, but it doesn't hinder you so much because you don't slow down so much when you hit anything, which I think is a good design choice there. It keeps you racing, keeps you going faster for longer, and of course, because your actual finishing position now doesn't matter, you just make it from point to point within the time limit. Yeah, I do prefer that. Which is actually a bit weird because I've made it very, very clear that I am not a fan of games that impose artificial time limits. And of course, that is what this is doing. And yet for some reason, because I just like playing the game so much, it gets away with it. It's not perfect. It still has the bloody stripes in the road, which I just think look shit and is absolutely pointless. I mean, they're not quite so noticeable as some games because, well, because you're going so fast when you're actually playing the game. It's one of the fastest racing games I've played, which certainly helps. So the game, yeah, is fast. It's certainly pretty smooth. It looks good. It sounds reasonable, and yeah, best of all, it plays superb. I would probably go so far as to say this is my favourite sort of arcade style racing game on the Amiga.
Marks. Set. Go.
But then that's not really much of a huge revelation because loads of people think this is the best arcade style racing game on the Amiga, and for good reason. I mean, it is just, it's one of those games where you as you play it, you think, yeah, the developers knew they'd done something fucking great here. You have some more variety here where, because you're racing at night, so you can't see as far up ahead, although perhaps an option to turn on your headlights would have been useful. So how do I rate it? I rate this 9 out of 10. I mean, yeah, it's a big improvement over the first Lotus game. It's just a great Amiga arcade style racing game. It is as simple as that. I don't know if there was a Commodore 64 version of this game. There was a Commodore 64 version of the first Lotus game, the Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge, but I don't think there was one of this. Again, if anyone knows for sure, you know, bung it in the comments or whatever. Oh, okay, I just about got away with that. I am being a bit quiet. I'm having to really concentrate on trying to actually... I'm determined to get through this fucking level. Coming downhill, really do pick up a hefty amount of speed. Oh, this is where, yeah, I just cannot turn quickly enough. I also seem to be going around these corners too fucking fast. But at least when you take your finger off the accelerator or stop pressing forward or whatever, you don't instantly start slowing down. You just travel at the same speed. You have to actively brake if you want to slow down, which yeah, I quite like that. Oh fuck, get out of the fucking way, you cunt. I still think I fucked it. I just haven't got the time on the clock. Yeah, I think actually I was just slightly short of where I finished last time, but more or less in exactly the same place. So, well, there you go. So that is Lotus Turbo Esprit then, or Lotus Turbo Challenge 2, I should say. Yeah, 9 out of 10. It's a great racing game. And I highly recommend it. If you've not played it before, then absolutely give it a go. If you have played it before, then fuck it, play it again, because it's that good. So that is this one done. So this is an example of a racing game on the Amiga that is absolutely fucking superb, really well done. The next review I'm doing will be of a racing game that is not superb and not very well done. That's all I'll say on it for now. So that brings this review to an end, and we will see you in the next one.